Pathmonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add Pathmonk to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Mudit Singh from Lambda Test, Head of Marketing and Growth. How are you doing today, Mudit?
Hey, Ernesto, doing really good, and thank you for hosting me. Really honored to be part of the podcast.
It's great to have you on. Someone with your experience and also having Lambda Test on here is a privilege for us. So, well, first off, let's give why the listeners are tuning in and tell us in your own words, what is Lambda Test all about?
Awesome. So Lambda Test is a test orchestration and execution platform. So what we provide is an online platform, infrastructure, and tooling in place that helps you execute tests at scale. Any type of test, any type of programming language, framework, operating system that you want to run your test on. We have the tooling and infrastructure in place to help you run those tests and run those tests faster than anything you can imagine, right? So that's what Lambda Test is about.
Awesome. Well, great to hear that. And so that way our listeners can get a good understanding of your company then. You mentioned that testing is the primary core, is what you guys like to solve. Is there another key problems that you like to solve for your clients?
So we help in what we call developer feedback time and helping you release faster. So one of the biggest bottleneck in running any type of software development pipeline is the testing part. So imagine this, everybody is talking about agile development methodology today, right? And what that means is we're focusing on small feature sets at a time. So a developer develops one feature, designer designs one feature, DevOps guys deploy one feature, but the testers, they have to test the whole application, not just that one feature. And as those sprints, as those features start stacking up, the time frame in which that tester has to test that specific feature starts to, let's say, become a very big problem as well. So testing the whole application becomes a challenge, specifically when people have to move very fast. So testing usually becomes a bottleneck in the pipeline. There are, of course, a lot of ways people have been solving that. Automation of all the testing is one of them. But even then, the biggest challenge in that part also to scale the automation testing features and everything becomes the infrastructure in place or the right tooling in place to help them succeed. So that's what the problem we have been solving. Help you fix that bottleneck, help you run your test at a fast speed, ensure that your overall development pipeline is smoothly flowing. We also provide a lot of tooling in place that enables you to debug and release faster. So it's not just testing infrastructure, it's a lot of tooling in place over the top for that can help you debug, get a complete quality check of your application, understand what the health of application is, get a lot of dashboards and graphs and everything. So that gives you a highlight what the platform is, like how your overall build quality is.
Okay, awesome. Great to hear that. And as far as some of your clients, who would be using Lambda Test? Is there a certain vertical segment? Is there an ideal ICP for that for Mudit?
So the great part about the Lambda Test platform is that it's industry agnostic as such. The reason being, anybody who has a big digital presence would need a platform like us. So we have people from fintech, we have people from other software as a services platforms, we have publishers who are using Lambda Test, we have retails, we have e-commerce business, we have healthcare. So nearly every industry vertical is represented, and not just, let's say, the industry type. It's also about the scale as well. We have people who are giving us $180 a year all the way to millions of dollars of years based on the scale of users we get. So we have nearly 2 million 2 million developers and testers who are using the platform, and of all sales scale, ranging from freelancers all the way to Fortune 500, Fortune 200 companies.
Definitely. All right. Awesome. Great to hear that then. And how would then somebody usually find out about Lambda Test? Is there a top client acquisition channel for you guys?
Yeah. So we have been in business for now 6.5, 7 years. And one of the most important factors for us always has been to focus on that customer part of things. So that customer obsession is that something that is very important for us. And because of that, we have been growing very rapidly, very fast for last nearly 3.5, 4 years, 6 years since we launched our first release through our organic channels. So that would mean things like community development that we helped out, things that organic search, things like referrals. So a lot of clients refer us to further clients as well. And but the biggest challenge that has been for us is building up that community ecosystem, and that connects with a lot of different marketing concepts. So that include things like SEO, things like social media, things like what we call content marketing. So when we started off, we had a little bit idea about it, but that was not our aim. We started off with creating content, creating things that can help our users in their automation or in their testing journey. So we started to create posts, we started to create tutorials, long form tutorials, we started to create in-depth tech tutorials that help. We ensured that our pages, the products that we are positioning, the messaging that we are focused more on features, helping them get started as soon as possible. We ensured that our onboarding cycles is very precise in nature. So product was a very important part of things. Now, when we look back and check what all we did, it is what right now everybody called a product-led growth, right? So at that time, when we started off, we didn't know this term. So we started off with focusing on the product and ensuring that the ecosystem that we are providing is giving the right information to the users to get started, and also give them the right information to scale up whatever testing, whatever processes they are doing right now. So then all of that collected back started to give us a lot of web traffic in the form of SEO, in the form of search engine, and then we doubled down on that, created more posts that were working for us. And a lot of that was tied up to the feedback from the customers that we were getting. We went back to them, asked, okay, so this is how you found us. Now, what kind of posts you want more? What are main points that you wanted to solve? And then we connected. So we kind of created a ecosystem of like a community ecosystem as well. We understood that we were not the best experts in this field. So we connected with a lot of freelance developers, testers, programmers who helped us write the content. We worked with them one-to-one to make sure that content is in the right format, that the content is flowing and then published on our website. And all of that ecosystem is kind of a community powered thing. So we enable that community transaction, people creating content. Even right now, we have around nearly 45, 50 different community members who are helping us write content, both in video format and textual format. That's helping us outgrow the community. And that's how we started to evolve, build up step by step, brick by brick on each of these community aspects. Content was one, videos that we were creating were one, our documentation that we helped out. So we have a lot of GitHub repositories as well for helping people get started. Then we started to build up programs that can further enable people. So we created courses, free online video courses. We are also partnering with platforms like LinkedIn and Coursera and Udemy to help us promote those courses. And at the same time, we have started this feature called certification. So it's not just a MCQ kind of certification. There is a complete customer success team. In fact, me and a few marketing team members are also involved who manually check each and every certification submissions that we have. So we had this Lambda Test certification program as well. And then the most important one that we have started since 2 years now is our TestMU conference. So our TestMU conference is a online flagship conference that happens every August, and we get last time we got more than 18,000 people joining us for the conference. This year we plan to make it even bigger. We had around 40 plus community members who are coming and speaking in, and from all ranges, people from big companies, from open source frame projects, people from startup ecosystem coming, sharing in their knowledge, and we plan to scale that up. So connect everything down, though we have been doing a lot of things that helps in what right now we call in marketing terms, things like SEO, things like social media, things like building up a community. But overall, that idea has been to foster a community that can help both accelerate their knowledge in the field of testing, quality assurance, or quality engineering, as it is right now called, and at the same time, of course, help roadmap the Lambda Test product itself. So give us that feedback engine that help us improve the product step by step as well.
Awesome, great. And well, so that way our listeners who are tuned in could go ahead and visit you guys. You could always check them out at LambdaTest.com. What role does a website then play for client acquisition? Mudit?
So for us, as I mentioned, one of the most important aspects for anybody coming to Lambda Test website is to understand what features we have, what problem statements we can solve. So our ICP, as we were highlighting, are developers, testers, programmers, people who have a very specific use cases in mind that they want to solve. So they go and search across the web. This is my problem statement. How would solve it? And they came across a platform like us. So when they land on our page, they should be able to get the solution of their problem immediately, then and there, right? So they do not have to, it should not be, let's say, a fluffy in nature. It should not just focus on things like ROI. It should focus on, these are the features. These are the problem statement you have. These are the how we solve it. And this is the ROI that you can get out of it, right? So all the information should be in a very bite-sized, accessible manner inside the web page. So that is a very important aspect to get a lot of people sign up and use the product, specifically when we are talking about a thing like a product-led growth or a self-serve model. So there is no sales guide to guide them, right? There's no customer success guide to guide them. So it's that whole web page is the representation of you, your company, your product, and it has to talk in the same language as your potential user is talking in with. So yeah, pretty important.
All right, great to hear that. And well, let's switch gears a little bit, Mudit, and let's talk about you as a leader. You being the head of marketing and growth there for Lambda Test. What are some key tasks that you like to focus on your day-to-day work?
So so for me, of course, it's always important to understand what's the day step-by-step things, tasks that are happening, processes that are happening in the team, what's their status at. So that means looking at a lot of dashboards, data, what are the different steps that, what are the different metrics that we have at, and what is the next steps to achieve those. So strategizing, that is one of the most important points. So my KPIs is, of course, having more users, having more revenue. So looking at how much signups we are getting, what is the activation of those signups, how much like just the visits we are getting. So it starts with visits, signups, how many of those are running tests, and then how many of those are continuing running tests. So getting the customer activated and then engaged. So the whole metric, that is important part of it. And every day there are things that are long-term strategies. So we find out, okay, this metric or this strategy that we have worked on to ensure that the people are running tests is not working. So let's put it in a better way. So the long-term are there, and then there are short-term. So just tweaking the messaging a little bit, just tweaking the way our content is presented a little bit. So from long-term to short-term, there are a lot of tasks, of course, but ultimately everything boils down to the overall funnel, how it looks like, what is the health of that funnel, and what we can do to scale that up.
All right, great to hear that. And well, let's jump into our next section here, Mudit, which is our rapid fire question rounds. Are you ready for them?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Mudit. Well, let's start it off. First off is, what is the last book that you read?
So the last book I read was called An Analytical Marketer. It was by Adele Sweetwood, and I found it on, somebody recommended it. It's about how you can, like what should be the analytics strategy when you are doing the whole marketing platform. So it has helped me to understand the KPIs and to measure, to kind of map out, in fact, understand what things that I even have to track to get the overall marketing strategy in place.
Okay, great read there. Next is, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
So I'll say content generation part of things. So a lot of things that we want to create, we have in mind, but ultimately when it comes out to, it's not something that users like. So that is something we want to tweak. So the way to create content that is more that is kind of resonates well with a very niche group of audience rather than a broad group of audience, right? So it's easier to create content that everybody likes, but it's easier to create a very small kind of content for a very small niche of people, right? So that is something that want to solve through technology as well.
Okay, perfect, great. Next is, if there's one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
Oh, sending reports. That's it. There is a lot of different metrics that we capture across different tooling, different things in place. And it's always, we have to dig down and hunt down that data and to understand what is happening, where it is happening. There is no right question to be asked in that data. So every time we have to kind of stitch the data together to understand what exactly is happening. So for example, if I have, let's say, a spike in the number of signups, so everybody would be happy. But if that signups is not converting to customers, then there should be something there that is not connecting well together. So then we have to dig down deep into the data and understand what is happening, why is it happening. So I think this is something that has to be, I don't know why this problem has not been solved so far, because everybody companies has a different process, but finding out the right answers from a huge set of data is a problem.
Okay, all right, great to hear that. Like I think everybody goes through that, so definitely something good there for someone to create something. And well, lastly, Mudit, you have a lot of experience already within the marketing world, but what is that one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Awesome. So I think one of the biggest challenges that, one of the biggest things that a lot of marketers right now say is talking to the customers. They start to focus on a lot of challenges, a lot of marketing terminology. They focus on things like SEO. They focus on things like social media marketing. A lot of things that in marketing has to be done, and they start focus on tasks. But then they forget about the most important things of what the customer's pain point are. So it's kind of like being out there, understanding, being in the shoes of your potential customers, talking with them, understanding their pain point, and then only you will be able to solve or present your product as a solution to their pain point better. So if you are starting as a marketing journey, instead of going through, let's say, creating content strategies or creating SEO strategies, creating, let's say, your life cycle marketing strategies, I think the first step would be to connect with as many of your customers or potential users as much as possible in the community and understand what their pain points are and how you as a platform can position to solve those pain points.
Okay, great. Some great advice there for our listeners. And well, Mudit, we are coming to the end of the show today, but I do want to give you the last word. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is that one thing they should remember about LambdaTest?
So we are a community-driven test platform that focuses on quality engineers, building up that community-driven approach to quality engineering. And they should remember that we have a conference called TestView, in which they can sign up, register, and get their insights on what's the latest is happening in the world of quality engineering.
Definitely awesome. Hey, well, to our listeners, you could always check them out at LambdaTest.com. Mudit, I do want to thank you for being on with us today, as well as to our listeners for tuning in. And I'm looking forward to our next episode at Pathmonk Presents. Thanks a lot, Mudit.
Thanks for having me, Ernesto. Really great to be here.
Great.